Hello and welcome back to the AAT'S Podcast, episode number 17, with myself, Adi of Adibiotics.
And me, Aidan Riley.
Good afternoon, Aidan.
Good afternoon, Adi. How are you?
I'm well, brother. Yourself?
Not bad, my friend. Not bad at all.
Always trying to jump on things these days. Always asking me, because I usually ask you that, don't I? How
you do.
How's it going?
First this time.
Yeah. I guess you're still practicing jiu-jitsu.
I'm always practicing jiu-jitsu.
Can't wait to actually...
Yeah, it's going to be, it's not bad, is it? It's going to be good.
It's going to be epic. Doing jiu-jitsu.
Epic.
Back in the days.
So,
what it is with every podcast, we like to pay tribute and pass over compliments, pass over shout-outs to people, and especially those who inspired us to start the podcast. I mean, they didn't look at us and say to us, "Why don't you guys just start a podcast?" It was just something we just naturally came to fruition to do, and we just went ahead and did it. And yeah, it's a great thing to do so, because at the end of the day, you know, it's like I always say, the day you give up on your passion will be the day you stop living.
I cannot agree more with that.
Thank you. I knew you would. And but yeah, it's just what we love doing, and it's just yeah, it's movie talk.
It's fun.
It's collaborating with each other. It's, you know, we're having a chat over coffee. So I am bringing the spin off from my other channel into this one here as well, the chat over coffee shows. And yeah, the latest episode has been uploaded, so please go ahead and check it out.
Yep, do that.
And a big shout out to Claire Cummings for coming on the show, and he saw the first episode. What did you think?
Mad for it.
I was saying Manchester in it all the time. Mad for it. So we are starting a new trilogy today.
Yes, as we promised.
As promised, yeah. And you can give a little hint of that, can't you? It's like, you know, can you give a little bit of the character's trademark? Oh, you want me to do the character's trademark?
You do it.
Right, fine.
If you want to spoil it.
Okay, so it's just basically the character laughs. He laughs in a very unique way, so he's just giving it. So the movie's about, the trilogy stars, or it's about an officer who's in the city of Detroit, Michigan, who's had his best friend. In part one, his best friend gets killed, and he says to him that, you know, I was working as a security guard in the city of Beverly Hills at an art gallery, and then the best friend gets killed, and then he goes out to see what happened. Why did he get killed all of a sudden? And then he just finds out the fact that
after a long notion of his boss telling him not to,
yeah,
this guy obviously being that kind of guy who takes no nonsense from anybody, decides to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's true. He does do that.
There's no bossing this guy around.
There's not. He's extremely he's extremely smart. He's very street. He's very street smart.
Street smart, yeah.
To be honest, I think he's one of the most street smart characters. I'm about to say criminal. One of the street smart characters ever to come on screen.
Yeah, he is.
Definitely one of the best.
Just, you know, he's a great cop as well, because he's not only is he street smart, he's a cop. So you put those two together, you got the mind of what could be a criminal.
Yeah.
Because how street smart he is, and how he used to be one as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Because his mate was talking about it. Mikey.
Yeah.
Said to him in a bar, "Let's go steal a car," and he was like, "I can't steal a car." It's like, come on, we used to steal. How many cars did you steal in the past? He went, I'm a cop now. I can't do that stuff anymore. So he used to be riding and hiding like that all the time when he was in his younger days. He did,
yeah. And so, like I say, he goes to find out what happened to the friend. Why did he get killed and all that? And he ends up teaming up with two other police officers. He didn't expect to team up with them.
No, they just got
assigned to work with them. One thing I liked about them two characters was the fact that they're very by the book individuals.
Yeah.
Same with their lieutenant. He's very by the book. And so the movie starred Eddie Murphy, and yeah, you guessed it, it was Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
And it's one of the best trilogies ever made. And yeah, it was a great combination of seeing these together. Like, here's a police officer in one city who does everything not by the book. He can't remember where he placed the book. He threw the book out the window ages ago. He does things like that scene at the beginning.
He sent the book to space. That's what.
Yeah, definitely. And then he goes into this brand new world where it's like everything's very fancy looking.
It's clean, isn't it?
Clean. It's very, it's true. Now that you mention it, Detroit in that you look at it, it's very run down. It's very dirty looking. It's very
just grimy, gritty.
Grimy, gritty. Yeah, like you say. But then if you look at it, he's gone into another world which is clean. Like that scene even when he gets Axel Foley when he gets arrested and he goes, "This is the nicest police car I've ever been in. It's things nicer than my apartment." That was actually a good.
That was great. I love that. But it was how it happened. It's how he got into that situation, which was funnier, because he got thrown out of a window.
Definitely, yeah. That scene.
And he gets arrested, and it's like, man just got thrown out of a damn window.
This time the piss I got thrown out of the window. Well, I remember the very first time I watched that scene. It's the scene where they picked him up, and the way they threw him out, and the way he landed was all funny after the other. It was such a great combination. It's like, get off me, put me down. I'm screwing someone up, and then it's.
I'm being serious, man. Put me down.
And then they just go throw him out the window.
And it's just looking like, did you actually just throw me through a window? You just took me out of the door. And
then when the police turn up, they go, "Did you see this? I could describe all of them." And did you know, before we go any further, did you know this is going to be a shock for everybody, and I've now actually given this a name on the podcast, and this dedicated to this brother over here.
Okay.
It's called the Riley reaction.
Oh.
And we're going to trademark that, so you've heard it here.
The Riley
Do not think about trying to copyright this, okay? This is already done.
The Riley reaction.
The Riley reaction. Okay, so did you know who was actually going to be Axel Foley? It was going to be Sylvester Stallone.
I nearly swore then.
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
Yes, I got the reaction out of him, everybody.
Sylvester. That would...
Yes, I got the reaction. If nobody heard that, I'll thank you, audience. So basically, what was going to happen was... seriously. So basically, what was going to happen was the fact that this was going to be like a Stallone-esque movie.
I'm so glad he didn't.
In a way, I don't think Sly would have been
good.
I mean, as much as I admire him and everything, but I don't think he would have been good in this. But
no,
what happened was originally what the plan was going to be do like a Rambo. How John Ashton, who played Taggart in the movie, he said when Sly was casted, it was going to be like.
I would think Sylvester Stallone would have been a good Taggart.
No, I don't think he would have. No, John Ashton was meant for that role.
Yeah,
and they said that when he got cast, it was going to be like Rambo quote blows up Beverly Hills, but because of he was asking too much for the movie, he then took all those ideas and then put it into the movie that we reviewed previously of Stallone's, which was, you can guess.
Tango and Cash.
No.
Oh,
Cobra. They turned it into that. Because originally the character in this movie, his name was going to be Axel Cobre, not Foley. And you know, the guy Mikey was going to be his brother, and the girl Jenny Summers was going to be his love interest. Yeah, that was going to be the original.
That's a terrible idea.
That was going to be... And to be honest with you, when I mentioned this to somebody else, they actually said to me, Stallone couldn't have pulled off that scene in the hotel where he's trying to con the hotel room.
Yeah, where it's like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Don't you think I know what's going on here? Yeah, that was a good scene.
You better do that whole impression. And
that's one of my favourite scenes.
It was, yeah. So so then they had a disagreement, and then they went back and then they casted Eddie Murphy in the role.
Well done.
And
did the right thing.
Yeah, it was the right thing. So, like I said, obviously, I think in a way, that would never work with Stallone. No. It would have been definitely
too serious. It would have been too serious.
There would have been no comedy. No. I mean, Stallone has some comedy aspects to him in movies, but compare him to, obviously, we're not talking about these two guys again. We talked about them in the last podcast. Arnold does have some slight senses of humour to him in movies. Mm-hmm. Sly maybe does a little bit.
Yeah, but the thing is about Eddie Murphy is he has the quick wit, talk,
he's
streetwise, smart kind of way about things. Well, that's the unique thing about him in this film.
That's true. One of my favourite scenes in this movie is basically in the scene where he goes to the buffet. and he throws that guy through the buffet, and he goes, and that guy, and Victor, the main bad guy who he's after, and he tells him to sit down, call down, and then he goes, "That's impressive, Victor. Do you teach him to sit, roll, and do all that shit too?" That was actually one of my favourite scenes.
That was one of my favourite scenes.
Yeah.
It was, I love it when the guy gets up in shock, like, did you just do that? Did you just do that to me?
Yeah.
And Victor just looks at him and goes,
Let me talk to him.
You'll get your ass kicked if you keep going. Just chill.
That is true. And then, so let's go into character details now. Do you want to describe Axel Foley? Or shall I describe Axel?
Let's both chip in.
Okay.
All right, so
you go first.
He is actually one of the best cops in the Detroit Police Department, but he's also one of the most pain in the backside cops that his boss has to deal with, because he does say to him, "You've got great potential, Axel. It's just your attitude." And he's just like,
"I'm tired of taking the heat for your ass."
Yeah. Yeah, I love it when he says to him. I love it when Axel says to him, "It's like, if this is no consolation, you actually got a lot of ass left."
Yeah, but yeah.
He's like, "Don't push me, Axel."
He goes, it's when the chief, and then Todd goes to him, and he goes, "He chewed off my ass. You see, he got none of it left." And he's leaving. He goes, "Chief, he didn't chew it all off. He's still got a little bit of the ass left."
Just so you know, Lieutenant, that you've still got quite a bit of ass there. That's left.
He goes, "Don't do it now, Axel. Now, go home."
Not now, Axel.
Go home.
Not now. Go home. I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, that's true. And then, so one thing I liked about Axel Foley is he's very out of place, but he doesn't care.
Loyal friend as well.
He's very loyal. I mean, the one thing I liked about him, even that
very
guy,
good liar.
Oh, he can lie himself out of everything. He's a professional. He's a professional.
Professional liar.
Professional, liar. Yeah. You never know. And what was a good so that was great. And one thing I liked about him is that not only, as you mentioned, he's quick and witty, he's very hilarious. He makes anything. It's like that scene where he's in the warehouse.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a good scene as well. The warehouse scene.
He's an officer of customs, isn't he? What's he saying his job is
I'm
again?
from customs here.
Yeah,
I'm
from customs.
United States Customs.
Yes.
I'm going to check this crate, starting the one right. What here?
Here.
And so like I said, he's very street smart. He's very witty. He's very funny. He makes anything. He can get anything he wants. He just knows how to talk. The talk.
Exactly.
And it's like that scene when he arrives in what do you call it? When he arrives in Beverly Hills, he's shocked at the sight of the place, because he's never been there before.
I just love how he laughs at everybody when he passes those two dudes on the sidewalk, and he looks at him like.
It's the thriller jacket.
Yeah, and he just looks at him and goes,
So,
You didn't even mean to do that.
and another thing I liked about it, that scene where it's like when he wants to check into a hotel room, he thinks he's trying to get like a rundown motel. I'm only going to crash here a couple of nights, and that's it, and I'm out of here. And then when he goes to that, apparently, did you know that scene was actually all improvised in that scene in the hotel? Most of that script was pure improvisation.
A lot of it was. Yeah. And a lot of the times, okay, I've got one for you.
Go for it.
Right, so anyway, did you know that Eddie Murphy, John Aston, and Judge Reynolds improvised most of their comic lines? Literally, hundreds of takes were ruined by cast members, actors, or the director laughing during shooting. I can imagine that. During the Super Cops monologue, Ashton is pinching his face hard and looking down in apparent frustration. He is actually laughing.
Judge Reynolds, yeah.
Reynolds put his hand in his pocket and pinched his thigh really hard, trying to prevent himself from laughing.
Yeah, you can tell that in the scene, which is like when he's like this. No,
yeah, because he's it's just like.
Yeah, but like I say, because it was funny. Then at the end, he goes, when Taggart goes, "This is what actually happened. This is what happened. He invited us. We drank this. Yes, that's right. And then this happened. That happened." They're all by the book, aren't they?
Yeah.
Beverly Hills by the book, whereas Detroit, don't care about the book.
No. He doesn't.
Axel does. Todd does, and so does the other guy in there, Jeffrey. I liked him. He was a good character.
I like Jeffrey. Yeah.
Paul Reiser, who played Jeffrey, and he went on to do the TV series Mad About You. And that was him in the TV series, and he was a great actor. He's a great actor.
I remember that.
And Yeah, what was quite funny
Helen Hunt was in that, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. She plays his wife in that show. Moving on to another character, Billy Rosewood. I liked him.
Yes.
Very, very.
Damn it, Billy.
It's like, yeah. It's that scene, you know. You could. I like the chemistry between him and John Ashton. It's definitely kind of like a father and son type of of relationship they have, because
big brother, little brother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Big brother, little brother, and then you have but sort of big brother, little brother, father son type relationship, and it's that scene where Taggart's basically the middle-aged man. He's been married for years, and Billy looks like he's just kind of been promoted to detective.
He looks like he's still
he's a kid,
still wet behind the ears.
He's a kid, in a way, wet behind the ears, and that was like, because the director paired up so many various finalists and asked them to do improvisation to get a good feeling of the chemistry, and then he paired up Judge Reinhold, who played Rosewood, and John Ashton, who played Taggart, and gave them direction. He goes, "You're like a middle-aged couple, married for years. You have a conversation on an average evening." And then Reinhold actually picked up that magazine nearby and improvised that scene. And he goes, the 5 pounds of red meat. And he goes, "By the time the average American's this age,
I like
5
that scene.
pounds."
Yeah.
And then he goes,
"We do eat a lot of red meat."
And then he goes, "What makes you have any interest in that?" "Well, you eat a lot of red meat."
You also drink a lot of coffee.
That's why you
get so restless.
Because you have a hard time relaxing. And then Axel creeps up behind
him.
And he jumps in the car and he goes, and he's like, and then and then when he's like, goes,
"What are you trying to do to me?"
He goes, "You almost gave me a heart attack." And he goes, "You're a cocky old SOB, aren't you?" And he's like, "What, are you guys still mad about the banana?" And he goes, "The lieutenant doctor's 2 days' pay." And he goes, "Oh, by the way, thanks for the sandwich."
The banana scene is actually one of my favourite scenes.
Yeah. Did you recognise the waiter by any chance?
No.
Okay.
Okay, you got another one for me, haven't you?
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
That waiter, he was in The Karate Kid. He was actually Freddy. You know, the guy who, when Daniel arrives and he kicks the door and he hits the guy in the head? That was Freddy from The Karate Kid.
Oh.
Yes, got a reaction. Got the reality reaction. Yeah. And I didn't realise who he was at first, and I saw him. He looked familiar. All right, you're that guy from The Karate Kid. And yeah, it worked. And like I said, it worked quite well. Now, Rosewood's very enthusiastic, but again, he's very sweet and innocent. He's just basically
very timid, isn't he?
He's very timid. He's very easygoing.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say easygoing, but one thing I liked about him was that he wants to kind of break. When he meets Axel beforehand, he's like, "All right, I'll do what you want me to do. I'll do this. I'll do that." And then when he meets Axel, he becomes a bit more of a risk taker. He does.
Axel does rub onto him. He does
in a good way. In a good way.
Yes, he does.
When when he goes, "Oh," even the warehouse scene, he's like, "I shouldn't get out of the car. I can't go without a warrant. I can't."
You've seen everything unfold, and he's like,
I gotta do something. I gotta do something. And then when he goes in and he helps him and he saves Axel's life.
Yeah.
And then Axel owes him one.
Yeah.
And then at the end when they're breaking into Maitland's house to find the girl.
That's leading up to another famous scene.
Everything he says was right. He's got the girl in there. And he goes, "Right, let's go and get her." He goes, "What do you think I'm doing here?" And then he goes, "I'm going in with Axel." He goes, "No, Billy, you'll get fired." He goes, "I gotta help us." But he took an oath. I gotta protect and serve. And he does that. You see more of a funny scene, a better version of Billy coming out of him. Now, moving on to Taggart. I liked him. Taggart was a good sidekick as well, wasn't he?
Taggart was awesome.
When the scene when he meets him for the first time, when he goes, "Why didn't you identify yourself as a police officer?" And because I was minding my own business. And he goes, "We had 6 witnesses say that you've broken, tore up the place, and you've jumped out the window."
I got thrown out of a damn window.
And then what was up when he's like, Taggart hates him at first when he punches him in the stomach.
Yeah.
And then that scene where he's saying, "Can you apologise to him for what you did?" And then he's like, when he goes, "Do you want to file charges against this police officer for assault?" And then he's like, Bogamo, another great character, I liked him, played by Ronnie Cox. When he says the same thing, he's like, "We do everything strictly by the book here."
That's lieutenant, isn't it?
Yeah, the lieutenant. And in part 2, he gets promoted to captain, which is really cool. Part 2 is definitely the best one out of all 3 of them, without a doubt.
We'll be watching that.
Oh yes, of course. And then what happened was that was the scene where he's like, he kind of becomes the risk taker towards the end. But I like the fact that he's definitely got his head screwed on the most out of all three of them. He's like saying, we shouldn't do this, let's do it by the book. I got to go to work, I got to do this. But he's a married man, he's got 3 kids, and that's just about it. He has to do everything what he's been told. But when he meets Axel, he kind of rubs onto him as well. Because he's seen like that scene where he sees Rosewood becoming a risk taker, and he goes, right, wait here, I'll come with you now. Is he sure? Yeah, I'll come.
Yeah.
Goes
he gets his shotgun,
he goes and goes in with him. And then when he's like, one of my other favourites, then we'll go to another favourite scene. But yeah,
the strip club is good.
Yeah, when he's like, that scene is good where he's kind of realising the fact that he's, Axel's not a bad guy. When he goes, look, all 3 of us prevented the crime together. And then he goes, oh, you go cover that guy, I'll cover this one over here.
Yeah. But it takes him a while at first to actually
gain his trust.
Yeah, he just looks into Axel's eyes for a while, and he doesn't see any signs of him actually being deceiving. He's like, actually, I can trust this guy. All right, I'll go cover this guy, and you can go to the next guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And well, what happens after, man, was awesome, wasn't it? When Axel just
disarms the one guy.
He just flips him.
But one thing I liked about Taggart, when he just moves out of nowhere, he moves quite quick for a big guy. He just moves with his police, move and I'll kill you. And then when he does that was quite cool. And then Rosewood turns up and goes, don't move. Goes, way to go, Rosewood.
You actually
You're some kind of cop.
That's like some kind of cop. He's just like, yep.
And then and there's that other scene as well, where after that scene where what's his name, Bogamo asked them, or what were you doing at a striptease and
strip club,
yeah, strip club, and what's his name? Axel's lying. He goes, oh, they did this, they followed me.
That's really good.
And then they know Taggart's very honest. And even at the end when the chief asks him, oh, can you tell me what actually happened here?
I love that part.
I love that transition of Taggart.
Yeah.
He was quite cool. Same with the Rosewood. And it's even with Bogamo.
Bogamo did the line.
And he's like, you're lying your ass off.
He's like... He's just looking over like, yeah, I know. Axel's like, I kind of rubbed on to you, haven't I? The lieutenant just actually agrees with me. He's like, yeah. He just gives that little smile, doesn't he?
He does. All right, moving on to another character, Lieutenant Bogamo. We just mentioned him. We have to talk about him. Definitely a great character. Definitely a good character.
Definitely
by the book.
Yeah, he's fair as well.
He's fair. It's like the scene where he sees Taggart punch Axel.
Yeah, and he goes over to him and tells him to apologise.
And then he goes, do you want to file charges against this officer for assault?
Axel's like,
what?
Where I'm from, police officers don't pull charges against one another.
Yeah, and he goes, no, we do things strictly by the book here. Yeah. And then what was another good scene was, and then he kind of when he questions them, why are you when he goes, when he's asking them questions of Taggart and Rosewood, what were you doing over there when I told you to follow him? Because we were there, but then he put banana in the tailpipe. He goes, how can you not notice a man putting a banana in your tailpipe? And then he gives them that lunch.
He sent his lunch, sir.
He goes, what? He goes, well, see this waiter king as Billy. I think he gets the point.
Like,
and then he's like, and then he goes, what did you have, Rosewood? He goes,
shrimp sandwich. Shrimp sandwich.
A shrimp salad sandwich.
Shrimp sandwich.
Go back. If you don't find him, don't bother calling in. And then when there's other guys who are harassing them too, he gives them that banana disguise, which is quite funny. That was quite a funny scene. And then, like I said, towards the end, when Bogamo's kind of figure it out, I love the one thing I like about Bogamo, he's very intelligent. That scene where Axel's saying, did you find, why are you bothering this Victor Maitland guy? And he's like, oh, my friend got killed. He goes, like,
talks about the coffee beans.
When he goes, right, tell me what happened. Talk to me. He's like, okay, I'll give you a chance to tell me. And he explains, he goes, I found everything. This guy's not an investor. He's a smuggler, whether it's drugs, this, that, and the other. He goes, did you see all this happening? He goes, everything but the drugs, but I found coffee grounds all over the warehouse. And Taggart's like...
So the question, Taggart just goes, what's that got to do with anything? And then the lieutenant goes, the coffee grounds moves away the smell from the drugs. so the dogs can't detect
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And Axel Foley's like, well
Very
done,
good.
Lieutenant.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was such an intelligent scene. I mean, that was a good sign of this. You could tell this guy didn't get to become a lieutenant just by.
He's a wise guy. He's a
He's
wise
very
guy.
wise. He's a very wise guy. He's very smart, and he was the same guy who played the bad guy in RoboCop. He was one.
It's another thing that we have to watch.
Just the first two parts. I'm not watching the third one
Right.
because the actor changed, and I don't like that.
All right, okay,
And,
we won't go anywhere near that.
Yeah, definitely not. And yeah, so then one other thing I like about Bogamo, towards the end when he goes, where is all the police officers? And he goes, oh, they've gone to this address, and he's like, who lives there? He goes, oh, that guy Victor Maitland. He goes, all right, and he starts gearing up to go out, and he goes, all right, tell them this has happened. There's a drug bust. Officers in civilian clothes, they need assistance. He goes, sir, do it. I want everybody around there right now. And then
because he knows now.
He figures it out.
Well, he did believe him at first. You could tell that he believed him at first because what he just said to Axel was, look, we don't have enough evidence to actually do anything with this guy. This guy's a powerful guy. He's, the...
we'd have to do it by the book.
He's the biggest art, seller.
Yeah.
In the actual state or the city. They can't actually just go, we'll come round and
we'll do this, that, and
we'll arrest you. They can't do that. Need all the evidence. But you can tell how excited he is though when he actually.
I'm getting back out there on the street.
Like, yes.
Yeah, he's loaded the gun up and everything.
Back to my roots.
Yeah, exactly. And then, what was even funnier, the fact that when at the end where he kind of saves Axel's life.
Yeah.
Axel's been shot in the shoulder, and then he's like, he turns over, his freeze, and he's like bang, bang, bang. But when he starts lying to the chief of the police, and then he's like, oh, so what happened? He goes, this happened. Rosewood went to the warehouse. This is Miss Summers. She's the manager of the art gallery, and she thought it was a substance that may have looked like cocaine. Whereas Rosewood went down there, he found 80 kilos of cocaine. And there was this, that was that. And then Taggart came to the scene, and Foley was only working in cooperation with his department and our department. And then he goes, will somebody tell me what happened? He goes, in defence, we shot several suspects, including Maitland himself.
And then he's just like,
you expect me to believe that?
Do you expect me to believe that, Lieutenant? And he's like, that's the file I'm reporting, sir.
And then he goes, all right. And then he goes,
Taggart, what really happened? So
he looks around at everyone.
Yeah, it's just the way he's looking at me, and then you see that kind of like little smirk in his face. Like, that's the Lieutenant says, sir. And the chief goes, okay. But after that, you just think, yeah.
One of my favorite bits in that scene was, where Axel's smiling around, and he's like, and then he sees the chief of police, and he goes like this. If we can see this, and he goes like this. He goes. He's smiling at everyone, and then he just goes like this. And he just goes.
It's just when he looks around, it's like. and the chief's like.
And then he goes to Bogamo afterwards, after the chief goes, you are lying your ass off. And then he goes like, go to the hospital, get your shoulder looked at, and he's like, sir, I need you to do me a favour. He goes, I've done all the things.
I'm all out of favours for you, Axel.
And he goes, yeah, but I might as well stay here because I'm not going to have my job. He goes, I'll talk to your detective first thing in the morning. He goes,
you know what, I'm thinking about buying a home here. It's really nice down here. I'm thinking about doing this and that, opening my own private investigation business. He's like, okay, I'll talk to you about it.
He's saying that to get rid of him. And then the next day when he's getting ready to go, and then Rosewood and Taggart turn up, he goes, you don't have to say bye. And he goes, Bogamo ordered us to make sure you get out of town. And
the ending's great though. I love the ending.
I love that because like when he says at the end, when Taggart even says to him, we're still on duty. He goes, do you want to go grab a drink before I leave?
Yeah, he's like, I know this great place that we can go, guys. And he just pulls that note out. And he just ends. He's just like, I wonder where they go.
And then what was the other, when Taggart, he's become the rule breaker himself, he goes, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll,
a few drinks won't go to miss.
Yeah, we'll just go have one beer. And then when he goes to the Beverly Hills, they even pay for his bill.
Yeah.
They say, oh no, the Beverly Hills Police Department's going to pick up that bill. Did you know who that guy was at the end of the counter who gives them the bill at the end? You won't believe this.
Okay, go on.
It was the director himself, Martin Brest.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, that was him.
Oh.
That was Martin Brest. It was a great director. One of the other great movies I saw of his was Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino. You've got to watch that movie.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got one for you.
Okay, go for it.
Let me just pick one out. I've got 4 here. So Police Chief Hubbard walks into his first scene carrying some rolled up sheets of paper.
Yeah.
It's actually one of many reworked scripts.
Yeah.
Which he was given to memorize and rehearse only minutes before shooting started.
Wow. Wow. Okay, you got my reaction.
Thank you. Yes.
Alright, moving on to another guy, the villain, Victor Maitland. Very evil, cold-hearted guy. Very intelligent.
Very intelligent.
Very intelligent. Very.
But he's not street smart.
Not as street smart as Axel.
No.
Axel's definitely the most street smart one out of all of them. And then the scene, right? You know when you see him for the very first time, he's sitting there in his little kimono in his office, and he's like, you could tell he's faking it all. Like when he goes, Michael Tandino worked for you. He was my friend.
That's terrible.
He goes, oh my God, that's terrible. You could tell he was lying. And it's that other scene. He goes, oh, can I sit down? Would you like anything? And he goes, no, I'm all right. And he goes, I didn't get your name. My name's Foley. He goes, all right, get rid of him.
Yeah.
He knows too much.
Yeah. Because all those guys come in, don't they?
Yeah.
And throw them out the window. Disturbing the peace.
I got thrown out of a window.
Disturbing the peace, looking you thrown out of that window.
I've got a funny story to tell you about that. Do you remember back in the day, do you remember everybody used to have like what? They still have like ringtones on here.
When you used to buy the ringtones.
No. This was a little while back.
All right,
and
okay.
I was walking out, and then these 2 police officers were walking down the road, and the Beverly Hills Cop theme went off on my phone. Yeah, it did. And then one of the guys just started going, I haven't heard that in a long time. And then I started saying to them, I started doing the Eddie Murphy impression. They couldn't stop laughing. And I started going, "Hi, I'm Axel Foley." and then I said, "Am I disturbing the peace? I got thrown out of a window. What's the crime for being noisy? Jaywalking?" They could not stop laughing, these police officers. The other guy I was with, he couldn't stop laughing either.
Oh, man. Obviously, it's like when it comes to anything like that, like any cop show, any TV show, cop show, anything like that, they're gonna. Do you think you'll watch it? Do the cops actually watch it?
They probably do. They probably don't.
And I bet the point at they go, that's not what actually happens.
No, that doesn't happen.
It's like when a doctor.
It's like
when a doctor watches something like I don't know, Holby City or Casualty. They're like,
ER,
yeah, all right.
Or even if a lawyer watches Suits.
Yeah. And they're just gonna. It's not actually that entertaining, adventurous, or funny.
No,
it's a very boring job.
It is, yeah. And then, so going back to Victor Maitland, it's like he like I say, he's very intelligent. He's got the art gallery is
manipulative.
It's very manipulative,
intimidating.
You find because that girl Jenny finds him very intimidating because obviously she goes, if not for him, I would have been still waitressing. You don't think he had anything?
He has that hold over her emotionally because if it wasn't for him, she'll be in a shoddy job, earning shoddy wages.
Yeah,
she won't be anywhere near the
successful that she is
with the car that she has and everything now.
Oh, the Mercedes, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very nice Mercedes.
Especially in them days. Oh, probably.
Well, she don't let Axel drive it, does she? It's like, you ever driving a Mercedes? Like, it's like any car. It's like, no, I'm driving. You ain't driving my car.
Yeah, exactly. And then towards the end, like when you see him, when you see that happening, and then he's like, when Axel's found all the cocaine, and because she let him in, didn't she?
Yep, she did.
And then she goes, and then Vic, when you're going, Jeanette, I am so disappointed. She's about to say something, and he just says, "Shut so loud."
Shut up!
I don't want to hear it. He was so good, Stephen Bierkoff, at playing villains. He's actually the main.
He's got the face for it and the intimidating look.
Yeah,
he just looks like you think.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I mean, another villain I remembered him playing in was Rambo 2. He's actually in that as well.
I still need to watch those ones.
Yeah, he's the main villain in that as well. And like I said, going back to Victor Maitland, it's one of my favourite bits in that when it shows how deadly serious this guy is. You know the scene again going back to the buffet, and then he goes when Axel threatens him when he goes, "If I find out you have anything to do with Mikey, I'm gonna, mess you up bad."
Is that what he says to him? I don't think you have any idea who you're dealing with.
And he goes, "Go back to your little hole in Detroit, or you get squashed." But he says it so calm.
Yeah.
Not with a threatening voice, no intimidation on the face.
That's what makes it so chilling.
Yeah. exactly.
Because there's no anger in there at all. It's just really, it's straight to the point. There's no anger, no frustration, no nerves there at all, is there?
Yeah.
It's just like, I suggest you go back to your hole before you get squashed. And you just think, well, this guy is purely confident.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he knows he will do it. He's in his turf now, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's his turf.
Yeah, he is.
He's the big fish. He's the big fish in that pond.
Yeah, exactly. And Axel's like obviously like that as well. And yeah, and basically, and like I said, it was that scene at the end when he's trying to kill Axel. It's even that scene when he's got the girl hostage and he goes, "Be careful, old boy, that might hit me." I don't care what I'm gonna. It's like saying, I've got your friend hostage. I've got leverage over you.
Well, it's over now for him. He knows it's over now.
Yeah.
You know, he's either going to get shot up or he's going to get put in prison for life.
Yeah, exactly.
So which one's it going to be? Man like him's got so much pride, he'd rather get shot up.
Yeah, it's true. he does do that. He absolutely does do that.
And that's what happens to him.
Yeah. All right. One more, a couple more characters. Serge.
Yes.
Love Serge. Serge, played by Bronson.
I love the encounter between him and Axel.
Hi, I'm fine. My name's Serge, and how can I help? Can I get you something? Wine, cocktail,
no, I'm
espresso?
Fine. I'm fine.
Make it back with a little lemon twist. It's good. You should try it. And then he's like, get that out of here. No, I cannot. Believe it or not, that accent he put on, Bronson, what's his name? Bronson Puncher, I think that's how you pronounce his name. It came from a female makeup crew member that he worked with on an earlier project. She goes, she was always wearing sunglasses while doing my makeup, and I would always ask her, how can you tell you know what you're doing? She goes, you've got sunglasses on, and she just brush away my hand with the limp arms and saying, don't be stupid, I know what I'm doing. I just decided to channel her, and while she wasn't very friendly, I knew Serge would needed to be very friendly and warm. And so that likable side was me, but the rest of my makeup, that lady Lily, I did that for Marty, our director, and he just loved it. He went on to play another character which is quite similar to this in a TV series called Perfect Strangers. Absolutely classic show, you got to watch it.
Well, sometimes actors and actresses come up, you know, I know we keep mentioning these two.
Yeah.
You know, Arnie, right?
Yeah.
Not Arnie, Sly, right?
Yeah.
How many times do we see him play the underdog in a film?
Yeah, that is true.
He's good at that. Like with this guy Serge, he's good at being that,
funny, humorous, flamboyant type.
Exactly,
character.
really colourful, extravagant guy who will just like make you laugh with just a few words. That's why I love the encounter between him and Axel, because Axel didn't know how to take him. It's like, what's going on? I've never encountered a guy like this before. Because no one actually, you don't see people like that in Detroit. As you see in the beginning of the film, you know, it shows you different angles and images of Detroit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even the kids look gangster, like they'll kick your ass.
Yeah, it's
you know
true.
what I mean? Everything about it, you know. And you look at the police headquarters as well.
Very clean building.
Yeah. Well, not in Detroit, it's not.
Oh yeah,
In Detroit, it's all rusted up and run down and tough looking. But when he goes to Beverly Hills, it's like,
this is like
so this high tech stuff. Look at all this machinery. It's just looking like it. What the hell?
And then he's driving in that broken car of his. And then it's just Serge, and he's like, he kind of becomes like a sidekick towards them as well. And he's like, when he's like, you know, how much did you sell this? That scene, you know, one of my favorite scenes is when he goes, well, he can't pronounce Axel's name properly, and he goes,
was it Ahmed? Did he say Ahmed or Axel?
What he says was, there's that scene when he's like this, and he's like, and then he goes, he hits C, and he goes, well, he doesn't even introduce him. He goes, how are you doing today? He goes, hi, I'm fine, I'm Serge. How can I help you? I'm looking for Jenny Summers, very busy today. And he's like, he goes, Dane, one moment. Can you tell him that Mr. Ahmed Foley, no, Axel. And he goes, Axel Foley is here to see her.
Yeah,
he
Mr.
Goes,
Foley.
And he goes, like, cover this up. And he goes, it's not the chest of a dog to scrub.
It's not very sexy.
And Axel goes, no, it's not very sexy.
No, it's not very sexy.
He's like, it's not right.
It's like the both looks like, yeah, it's not.
And then he's like, get that out of here. No, I cannot.
I love that. I love it when he meets Billy. It's like, do you want a drink? So, do you want it with a lemon twist? He's like, yeah, if that's all right. It's like, so polite.
And he's like, of course, don't be stupid.
Of course, don't be stupid.
Yeah, and then, actually, he went on to do another TV series called Perfect Strangers, and this character is similar in that his name's Balky, and Balky's quite similar to Serge. He's like very sweet, very naive, new in America and all that. And and you know how he says in this, "Don't be stupid." In that, he had a catchphrase called "Don't be ridiculous." He gave me like, of course not, don't be ridiculous. And then he sounded exactly like Serge from...
It is Serge,
It is Serge. It's just Serge.
It's a bit they looked at that film and going...
I think because of this movie is what got him the role in that.
Yeah, it was his breakthrough.
It was his breakthrough, definitely. And he's a great actor, and you should see him now. He hasn't changed a single bit.
You have to look him up.
You have to look him up. Okay.
I've got one for you.
Okay, go for it.
Alright, so the Beverly Hills police did not provide access to their headquarters.
Yeah.
So Martin Brest and staff built a set that would look like the exact opposite of the Detroit Police Department, like private security for rich people. The set was influenced by Brest's original conceptual designs for the NORAD scenes in War Games, which in 1983. He recycled his unused work because he felt he spent too much time on it to never use it. So they built an entire set to match the actual headquarters. How amazing is that? That's what happened in the Terminal in 2005 film in Tom Hanks.
Great movie.
Spielberg.
Great movie.
Did you know that's a true story? Did you know that actually happened? A guy was actually stopped from going into the US, and he had to live in there for a long time before his visa got sorted out. Yeah. Anyway,
you got my reaction. So,
that's the most I've got now.
Yeah, it's true. One last character. We have to do this. Inspector Todd. Love Inspector Todd. Todd's kind of like. Would you say a father figure to Axel, or would you say a big brother as well? I think he's definitely like the big brother.
He's his boss, isn't he?
He's his boss, yeah, Inspector Todd. And did you know the actor?
He's more like his dad.
He's
more like a father figure. Because he says you've got so much potential, but it's just your arrogance that is stopping you from becoming more. Yeah. But obviously, Axel doesn't listen to him.
Yeah. Did you know Gilbert Hill, who plays him, was a real life police detective? It was a real life police detective, and he served in the city, and he also became president of the Detroit City Council.
That's incredible.
And then they asked him, how are you any different to Todd? He goes, the only difference is I don't swear as much as Todd does. And there was an interview of him. Sadly he passed away. He was a great actor. And the one thing I liked about him when he's trying to talk directly to Axel, and Jeffrey's around. He's like, Jeffrey, this is none of your effing business, and this is not my locker.
this ain't my locker. That made me laugh. That was great.
Part 2 is even funnier what happens. I'm not going to ruin it, but all I'm going to say is just wait till you watch part 2.
I know when Axel goes, la 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 la.
I'm not listening to you.
He's like, yeah, very mature, Axel.
Then stop bothering me. And then when he tells, is that effing Foley in here? and he's like, and he comes in and he talks to him and all that stuff. And he goes, do you mind telling me where you got authorization? He's trying to do things by the book, but Axel's destroying him.
Just destroying the whole department's reputation because he's just there.
Yeah, it's like the scene at the beginning after the truck chase. And then the police officers are holding the gun, and he just turns around. And they're like, "It's me." He goes, "Oh,
shouldn't have known it was you."
No, sorry, I have to do the egg. Alright, so yeah, Todd was a great character, and one thing I liked about him, and that was when Bogamo rings him up and he says, "Why is he in Beverly Hills?" And he said he's on vacation. He goes, "Well, tell him if he's investigating this case, tell him not bother coming back." And when he goes, when Bogamo goes, I got off the phone with Inspector Todd, and he tells me you're an outstanding detective. I find that hard to believe. He goes, you're a troublemaker. I find that very easy to believe. I like that scene there for some reason.
Well, he is, isn't he? He's both. He's like a hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
Would you want him on your side, or wouldn't you want him on the side?
I think I would want him on the side.
Yeah. I would want him on my side, but at the same time, it'll be his side. It won't be your side. It'll be his.
Yeah,
You'll make it his side.
Like when he cons for
You're not the boss anymore. He
Yeah.
just walks off and does what he wants to do.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so going on the behind the scenes talk now.
Oh, I like this part. Over to you.
Oh, thank you. So, did you know Martin Brest was he was fired from this movie called War Games? You heard of the movie War Games?
Mm.
Yeah, because that was a second directing job, and the industry thought he was damaged goods. And they said that Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer disagreed, and the two Paramount executives continuously called Martin Brest and asked him to direct the film, but he kept on declining. He took his phone off the hook, and Simpson took the hint, but Bruckheimer kept trying, and finally he decided this. You won't believe this. He flipped a coin. Heads I do it. Heads I don't do it. Tails I'll do it. And he decided, all right, fine, I'll do it.
Wow. So if it wasn't for that,
Yeah,
this wouldn't have been the film it was.
it was. Yeah, so
Ooh.
he did
It's
it.
amazing
And-
what little things like this can make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. And also, there were so many other actors who were going to play Foley, Axel Foley.
One of them being Sylvester
Stallone was one of them, but he left the project to go off and took his script ideas and went and did Cobra.
which was a good thing.
And then Mickey Rourke.
No.
No, back then, Mickey Rourke, he's still a terrific
but
actor.
not for Foley. This.
Okay, well, you say yes or no to the following actors. So,
Okay,
Mickey
okay.
Rourke.
So let's start with Sylvester Stallone.
No.
No. Okay, next one.
Mickey Rourke.
No.
Jeff Bridges.
No.
James Caan. He played, well, if you might not know him, he was Sonny in The Godfather. Okay, you probably don't know.
Wait, but I don't know. That's a tough one.
Okay.
No, I go with no.
Robert De Niro.
Oh, I've seen him in comedies. He's all right.
He's an all-round actor.
Yeah, I think
De Niro is
you know what?
definition of
I
all-round
think
actor.
I think I would have. I think. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think.
Harrison Ford.
No.
Richard Gere.
No.
No chance.
Officer and a Gentleman, no chance.
And he's Edward in Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, a pretty good movie.
Pretty Woman.
Okay, don't stop. and then Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I think so.
Gibson, yeah, he would have been good.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton. Because if you like, Keaton's background was mainly comedy before he became Batman.
I think I would go with yes. All right.
Okay,
yeah.
Nick Nolte. He worked with Eddie Murphy on 48 Hours.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I'd go with yeah.
Al Pacino.
No.
Richard Pryor, definitely.
Of course.
Richard Pryor would have smashed that role.
Of course.
Yeah. Dennis Quaid.
No.
Kurt Russell.
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
John Travolta. No. Robin Williams.
No.
50-50.
No.
Okay, good. And Bruce Willis.
No.
No. Okay, yeah. Eddie Murphy had that role done there and then. And okay, so and also you know the the opening scenes, they were filmed in Detroit. Martin Brest was escorted around the city, and who would refuse to pass by the police, and he refused the police to follow him because they thought it was too dangerous. But they started doing the work unescorted. They didn't ask for no police protection around there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, fair enough. You need to get the feel of the city. And the only way to do that is not really get it. Because if they had police with them, they would be thinking, who are these people?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
because they didn't have police with them, they just thought, well, they're just some people walking around.
And also, you know, as I mentioned earlier, Stallone was going to be Axel Foley.
Again, that was a good decision.
Yeah. And Billy Rosewood, his name was actually going to be called Siddons, and he was actually going to get killed off half the way.
Oh.
But the action scenes deemed too expensive. And then after that, when they cast him, they decided to keep Rosewood alive. Rosewood was a great character.
Reynolds. I mean, come on, man. This guy was a brilliant addition. I mean, you can't kill this guy off.
Yeah.
He's a sweet guy, innocent dude. He just loves his job.
That's true,
And I
yeah.
love it where the part where he goes, where they're saying to them, take 2 steps back, and put your hands on your head.
That was one of my favourite scenes.
And then
the first bit when he stands up, they're being shot by machine guns, and he stands up and he's got the badge in one hand, he's got the
freeze,
and then they all start shooting him, and Tiger goes, "You do that again, I'll shoot you myself."
But the end part where it works, and he goes, "Take 2 steps back and place your hands on your head," and he goes,
"Very good, great."
That was so great.
He's like a little kid. He's like, great.
He just wanted to do that from the start.
Yeah, it's true. And also, as you mentioned earlier on about the two, the scene where Axel's just secured the hotel room.
Yeah.
And one of my other favourite scenes is when he goes, "If Michael calls, tell him what room I'm in." That was a good one. And then he goes to him.
Who's going to know what's going on here? Yeah.
And then he's walking down the road, and he goes, and then he sees those 2 people in the leather suits, and then he starts laughing. In his stand-up comedy, he actually wore. He did 2 stand-up comedy shows called Delirious. He wore a red suit in that.
I've seen
hilarious.
That. Yeah.
And then when he did Raw, he was wearing a blue one.
No, it was blue with Delirious. Raw was the red one.
No, Delirious was the red one. Blue was with the Raw.
Are you sure?
Yes, that's right.
Oh man, I've seen it.
And then also, did you know the mansion they used in there was actually the same
mansion? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know it was actually the same mansion they used in the movie Commando with Schwarzenegger, where they're both like having the shootout. And if you look at it, Axel's in there trying to rescue somebody named Jenny, and in Commando,
Jenny.
Again, Jenny. Same thing.
Jenny. Good God. Wow. Well, that's I tell you what, it's like Jenny is. I wonder if Jenny actually lives there in real life.
Probably, you never know. You never know. And also, Martin Scorsese was offered to do the movie as well, to direct it.
Well, I'm glad he didn't.
No, he's a brilliant director.
Yeah, but he's not meant for those type of films, man. He's not meant for those films. He's meant for the serious, gritty films like Casino, Goodfellas.
No,
Taxi Driver.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's true. And okay, moving on. So that's a bit of the behind the scenes stuff. And like I said, we'll go on the improvised scenes. And one of my other favorite scenes was and did you know this is actually the longest Beverly Hills Cop movie?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, did you know what's his name? Serge Bronson Pitchett nearly almost dropped out of the film. He goes, due to the production delays and a trip he had to go to Florence, Italy, he grew restless, and despite being virtually unknown, said that if they didn't start production, he would have dropped out. And it worked, and he got in there as well. And Eddie Murphy actually backed out of, you won't believe this, guess what movie Eddie Murphy backed out of doing to do this one? This is going to shock everybody. He backed out of doing Ghostbusters to do this movie. Yes, got the reaction. I think that's about 4 or 5 for Eddie now. On this guy. Because do you know who he was going to be in that? He was actually going to be Winston Zedmore, who Ernie Hudson went to play. So just imagine in that movie, you have all these great comedy actors. You have Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Eddie Murphy, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis as well.
That would have been very expensive.
I think that would have been a great movie.
It would have been.
It would have been, because they've worked together as well in the past.
I don't think this will get much reaction, but did you know the first film, this was the first film to be released at over 2,000 theatres in the US?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got my reaction.
That's the most I've ever got.
Okay, you're on about 3.
Yeah.
And then also, did you know who was also in there? Damon Wayans. Well, this is actually his film debut. Did you know he...
Wayans Brothers? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
You know who he is? You know the guy who gives them the bananas?
Yeah.
That's Damon Wayans.
Yes. I love the Wayans Brothers.
I do as well. I think my favourite one's definitely either Damon, and I like Keaton Ivory Wayans. He's a great actor and director.
They're all great, aren't they? They've all got a good comedy.
I love the TV series Sean and Marlon used to do called The Wayans Brothers. I couldn't stop laughing at that.
White Chicks.
Oh yeah, White Chicks, Little Man.
It was in Scary Movie as well.
Oh yeah, Scary Movie. But I like it when it's just them two. And also, did you know the song Nasty Girl was actually written by Prince? Not you, the actual singer.
Yeah, that's... I want to lie then.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, not a bad person, is it?
And also, did you know Stephen Bearcoff was actually filmed all his scenes in 6 weeks, and apparently he loathes the movie in real life. He actually didn't like the movie.
Wow, that's surprising.
It was he played a great part in it, but still.
I mean, come on. I mean, to not actually like the film. I mean, what don't you like about it?
No, that's
well, you can't please everybody.
Well, they're saying it's probably for him to know, for us never to find out.
Oh, okay. I like the film, so screw
it. He was one of the, okay. And another good scene was, you know, the scene where where Axel's gone into the club and he's followed him, and he becomes all flamboyant and everything, and the guy goes, "Can I help you?" He's like, "Yes." That was all actually improvised by Eddie Murphy.
Yes, I know.
That was all improvised by him there. Also, the scene where, as you mentioned, the Super Cop story.
Yeah,
that was all improvised. That was all improvised.
A lot of it was. This is how good it was. A lot of the film was improvised. A comedy scene.
Can you name another scene that he was improvised?
Oh,
name one. Name one. Just name one. And I'll say either yes or no.
Alright, where he's getting thrown out the window.
No.
Before then. Before then. We're in a truck.
Yeah, that's a little bit of improvisation.
Yeah.
And then the other one is where he's securing the hotel room.
The Rolling Stones, man.
That's the one, yeah.
Yes.
That's another improvised scene. Alright, so we'll go on to favourite scenes now. You go first.
Well, let me just get it up here. I think we spoke about them all, or most of them already. But we hadn't spoke about this one. When they're in the grounds of Maitland's, garden.
Yeah.
And they're trying to
climb
Rosewood, and Taggart are trying to climb the wall.
Yeah.
And you just hear Taggart go, "Come on, give me a lift." And he's just like, and then
why don't you just go around?
He's like, he finally, and then they both fall, and then he finally gets over, just puts his arms on the wall. It's like,
and Axel looks at him,
and he just looks over. He's like, he's just.
And then when they fall over, I could not stop laughing at that scene when they fall over.
That's my favourite scene. That's one of my favourite scenes of the film. I love it. That was great chemistry, isn't it?
All three of them had brilliant chemistry. And then,
what about you?
One of my favourite scenes is definitely the what was that scene? That kind of like the fist fight in the warehouse. That was a good scene. And then when he's getting beat up, and then he's like, "Have a nice day, Mr. Foley. I'll try." and then the other, that was alright of a favourite scene, but the getting thrown out the window was even funny. And when he's inside the prison cell, and he's like, "Hey, I just ordered some pizza. Do you mind if I sit here and eat it?"
Yes.
And he's like, "No, come on," he goes, "Someone's going to eat it."
They're even here in Detroit. We don't have phones in the cells.
Yeah, and he's like, then
the banana scene though, where he sticks a banana in the exhaust, and he just runs into his car and he just waves at them like that. He's like, "Come on, quick!" And then he just drives off. And then they're trying to do a U-turn, and the car's just stopping. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And you just see Taggart in the window he just is. He's like,
There's that scene is, how did they know Foley was behind us? And he's like, "Because I let you drive, remember?" And then what happened was the other funny scene, or one of my other favourite scenes was when he's ordering the food, which is kind of funny. I think that was kind of funny.
Well, where he sends it out to them.
Yeah. Then when he jumps into the car afterwards and he scares them, and he goes, and then he goes, Billy goes, "Thanks for the sandwich." He meant it as a lie. He was pulling my leg. Because now I'm a police officer. I've been on. That you can tell he's a bit serious. He goes, "I'm a police officer."
We're all police officers here, and I respect you. We all respect each other. We're all police officers here.
Yeah, and then another one of my favourite scenes is when, you know, the other two guys, not Taggart and Rosewood, the other two, and they're standing, he goes, we're not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe. He goes, you're not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe.
You've been hanging around with this guy too long.
Again, that was an improvised scene. And then when he goes...
You can just tell, though, can't you?
You can tell. That's the thing about Eddie Murphy, and the great thing about him, Jim Carrey as well.
Robin Williams.
Exactly, yeah. May he rest in peace. When you give him a little bit of a script, that's all they need. Everything else is going to be 100%.
Just give them a scenario and they'll do it.
That's it, yeah. That's all it comes down to. They're so unique.
Great improv. Because they're comedians.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was a comedian. Robbie Williams was a comedian. Eddie Murphy was a comedian. They're all comedians. They've all got done stand-up comedy, and you all have to think. Because not all of them. Like Billy Connolly is one of them. He never wrote a script. He never wrote his scripts.
Yeah.
So he just went down there and just talked.
Yeah.
And that's what they all did. They all just talked, and that's why they were so good at what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're a comedian, you're clever. Comedians are smart people. They do a lot of reading. They research about reality, what's happening in the world, and then they turn it on its head and make it into a laughable situation.
Yeah, exactly. And did you know also on the set, Eddie Murphy was falling really tired, and what happened because he was tired of the long shoots. He became very tired with the police station sequences. The crew offered him coffee, but he refused to drink it because he refused to take any drugs of the kind. But eventually he relented and he took small sips to stay awake, and he became very energized and ad-libbed the Super Cop monologue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank God for that coffee.
Exactly. And I think that...
that must have been some strong... That's the coffee that you give me.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. Exactly. It's biotic coffee.
The biotic coffee.
Yeah, BC. And so also, do you know the t-shirt he wore, Axel Foley's t-shirt? It was from Montford. It was a real life Detroit area school, and one of the filmmakers attended. And when the film came out, the school got orders for the t-shirt from customers from all over the world.
Okay. They're learning a lot today, aren't they?
Yeah. Also, one last bit. Originally, there were going to be two men working in the art gallery scene, but when the director heard Bronson's surge, Bronson pictured Surge impression, he thought he'd be so hysterical that he scaled it back to the other part and give Bronson's character more screen time. And the second actor just turned up quick, like briefly, you know, with the shirt open. Donné, one moment. That scene was cut for him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have another favourite scene?
Let me see. I've got to love the ending. Ending. Well, not the ending. I love that ending anyway, but where the lieutenant just
gives it.
He just gives it that full file of things that supposedly happened.
Yeah.
And I just love how cool he is at the end where the chief just goes, do you expect me to believe that, Lieutenant? He's like, that's the file I'm reporting, sir. He just stares at him right in the eyes and goes,
he does.
yeah, this guy, man, this guy's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, he does.
I just love that scene. But you can tell sometimes where he's like, he just stumbles a little bit, but he's so quick at making up every story. Because everyone else watching it, I'm like, please don't stumble over your words. Please don't stumble over your words. But he never did. I was like, yes.
He absolutely doesn't. Which was,
and obviously Axel was smiling at him like that in the back, and then when the chief turns around, it's like, it's like a little kid. I love that.
I love that scene as well. It was one of the best scenes ever made. And okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate Beverly Hills? Give it a 9.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it a 9 because it was one of my favourites. Like I said, the great thing about Eddie Murphy is, as we mentioned, he can make anything around him funny, and then that was obviously back in.
An example of how good he is,
especially that time when he was in his prime.
Oh yeah,
it was definitely his prime in that movie.
The 80s was really big for him because he did, he had his breakthrough film, which was Trading Places.
Trading Places. He did The Golden Child, Coming to America, which we're all going to review, by the way. Harlem Nights.
Mm-hmm.
And like he did the stand-up comedies, Raw, Delirious. And I think he did the first two Beverly Hills Cop movies came out in the 80s. And the last one,
Beverly Hills Cop 3 was 1991.
91, 92, yeah. Maybe 93. But you got to admit, it's not the best one out of the three of them. Even Eddie Murphy doesn't like it either.
It wasn't great. I mean, the trilogy, the third film actually just, like a lot of trilogies, it's most of the time it's the third film.
Yeah.
That just does not live up to anything. It's like with Back to the Future, the one we the last trilogy we reviewed.
Yeah.
The third one was the weakest.
Definitely, it was.
But it was still a great film.
Oh yeah, no denying that.
But you know, Axel Foley. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop 3 was still funny. It was still okay, but let's admit, you know, it was nowhere near the same quality as 1 and 2.
Definitely, especially number 2 was the best.
That was good.
Tony Scott directed number 2.
I bought it.
You know that Tony Scott, the late great brother of Ridley Scott, he directed Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Oh, there you go. Can't wait to watch that film.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was definitely the best one out of all of them. So that's all the time we have for today's podcast. Aidan, always a pleasure to work with you. Always, brother. Always. And we're definitely going to be back soon. Next week we're going to be talking about a TV series. It's probably one of my the greatest cop show ever created. It had style, charisma, fashion. It actually set the trend for fashion back in the 80s. I guess you could probably figure it out. I guess somebody could probably figure it out now. What show we're talking about?
Miami Vice.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing Miami Vice.
You speak about that a lot.
Because to be honest with you, it wasn't one of those cop shows. Before we talk about it, it wasn't one of those cop shows that was a regular cop show.
Yeah.
It was completely different. It had everything. It became a fashion icon. The show itself became a fashion icon. Miami itself became a fashion icon.
I've seen the pictures of it, and I've seen the cars they drive, the jackets they wore, the shirts they wore, the shoes they wore, the set, how great the backdrop was.
Yeah, exactly.
The hairstyles, the sunglasses, it was a very, you know.
Well, I'm wearing sunglasses when we do this show. I'm going to pay tribute to it, and I'm also going to put the white suit on.
Okay.
I'll try my best to wear the white suit if I can find it. Depending on the heat in here as well.
Yeah, it's getting quite warm.
It is getting quite warm, so I can't really risk that. So again, thank you so much, bro, for coming in. It's always a pleasure working with you, and definitely we're going to be back pretty soon. And like I say, everyone, please, if you made it to the end of the podcast, click subscribe, turn on notifications, because we're going to be dropping weekly podcasts, and it's always a pleasure working with this guy here as well. And we'll see you and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. Put the links on everywhere, and also give a follow to Billy Holly Productions as well. Our bro Will, and Monsieur Will, and definitely we're going to look to collaborate with him as well.
Yes,
and don't forget, the 80s rocked.
They do rock.
Yes, what this guy agreed with.
What this guy said.
Next time, everybody.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, bro.
See you soon.
Thanks, Axel.